Inakuwaje watu wangu wa nguvu, mimi naitwa presenter Ali, your entertainment PA. The A is always for amazing. Siku zote natia bidii kuhakikisha kwamba nakuletea stories tofauti. And of course today I'm with one interesting guy. I'm telling you, the moment that I saw his message, I knew that this was going to be something very interesting. So nimekuja kupiga naye story and just to make it clear, he has found the cure for cancer. Lakini wacha jitambulishe. Please introduce yourself.
So kwa majina ni Oscar Mwakidisa Mgenyi. I am a 26-year-old research scientist and the first African to find the cause and the cure for cancer. That's why I'm reaching out to private investors and the Kenyan government to provide 4 million pounds in funding to do feasibilities for what will be the Mgenyi Center for Longevity. Yeah.
Wow. So this is very interesting, and for anyone ambaye anatazama ama mtu yote akisikia kwamba you're saying that you found the cure for cancer, the first thing is, how do you know? Where did it all begin?
Okay, it began a long time ago. I'll say I'm intellectually curious. I like knowing, a lot of things. Like right now, you're surrounded by, you see trees behind us. I'll start, like studying that tree. Generally, just pursuing information. But I was more interested in knowing, like, how the human body works. Yeah, so I went and studied, like, sleep medicine. Why do we sleep? Why do we eat the way we eat? Why do we eat the foods we eat? Why do we exercise? Yeah, so just asking a lot of questions and trying to establish patterns between various diseases, because all of them, like cancer, they are categorized as lifestyle-oriented diseases. The same category you find diabetes, cardiovascular complications, cardio, heart diseases, inflammation of the gut, those complications of the stomach, the gastrointestinal system. So I just studied the body as a whole, not as different parts. Yeah.
Cancer has been around for decades now, I believe, and of course you've been around for 2.5, I'd say. So basically, at what point did you know that you have got the cure?
Okay, the revelation came sometime early this year, but it's something I've been working on for the longest time. In fact, what I'm sharing to the world right now was supposed to be my undergraduate thesis. Okay. But my professor at the time rejected it. He told me, no, this is something beyond your specialization. But I was like, the purpose of going to university is not for you to be, let's say, become a doctor or an engineer, or let's say a specific profession. Is to teach you how to think. And once you have critical thinking skills and creativity, you can tackle different issues. The same way Elon Musk is sending people to space. Is he an astronaut?
Wow.
You see,
yeah.
He's building Tesla. Is he an automotive engineer? So, no human is limited. You can do anything you want. As long as, you seek, you will find. You knock and the doors, the answers will be available to you. Yeah.
There are many already working procedures that do not prevent cancer or do not completely cure cancer. We have the chemo, and just to mention but a few. Did you go through all of them and know that why they don't work? And did you even come to a conclusion of finding what causes it?
Yes, I did. You have to study the literature. Unasikia information is power. Yes. So I went and looked at the 3 commonly used interventions for cancer treatment. And that is radiotherapy, chemotherapy, and surgery. And recently, we have advances like the CAR T-cell therapy. It falls under the category of what we call immunotherapy. Immuno, from the word immune system. Yes. So how immunotherapy works, it basically enhances the ability of the immune system to fight against the diseases. But the immune system does not work in isolation. You see, like when where is your immune system located? we have what we call the lymphatic system, and we have the lymph nodes. The lymph nodes are around the neck, the armpits, and the groin. So you have to ask yourself, why is it that the lymph nodes are located around the legs, the arms, and the neck? So that, let's say you have been bitten by a snake here, you have the lymph nodes here to prevent the infection. You see, unaweza umwa nyoka ama tuseme you're frozen somewhere, that organ has to be cut. We evolved to have the lymphatic system to prevent these parts of the body, to prevent basically infection from spreading from one area to another. And in similar fashion, when you exercise, unajua unaona msee nafanya mazoezi, ikwangi all about losing weight. There's a lot that goes on with exercise. For example, when you run, you stimulate the bone marrow. It releases what we call progenitor cells. And those progenitor cells enhance immune functioning. The same way when you exercise, information flows. For example, let's say you're lifting a dumbbell. Umona, you'll notice that the arm becomes bigger because blood supply increases there. The same way the lymphatic system, the lymph flows. Lymphatic system, see kama how the heart, the cardiovascular system operates, because the heart is a pump. You see, it pumps, so blood flows. But the lymphatic system does not have a pumping mechanism, so it depends on the movement of the body so that the lymph can flow. That's why you have things like yoga. You see, just slow moves. Some of our Chinese, they do those. You see, it's just to move the body. And when the lymph flows, let's say you have an infection here, the lymph is flowing, it will know there's an infection there. The immune system will deal with the infection. You see, so we can just say disease from the word disease. Disease is basically breakdown of information. Things are not flowing. Messages are not being sent from the brain to the from the central nervous system, that is the brain and the spine, to various parts of the body. That's why you have things like paralysis. It's simply information. We call them action potentials. They don't flow to the correct area. That's why you see your arm is paralyzed. And when that information does not flow, utaona umeonga hii side moja, ingine it becomes weak. You remember Darwin's theory of use and misuse? The more you use something, the more it develops. The less you use it, it becomes redundant. Things like the cesium, it's a part of the body. In human beings, it is the appendix, but it has function in animals. But now that it's not used as much. It's not that it doesn't have a function, it is not used as much. And the more you use something, the more it develops. Like the brain, that's why you're told, read a lot of books. It helps the brain to develop. Yeah, so. You
said that this was your thesis, but then how long did it take you for you to, conclude that, I am 99.9% that I have found the cure for cancer?
It has taken 26 years of my existence. Yeah, Nikitu, we started way back. You see, it's not that you don't just wake up like that. You have to study, and you study across domains. You study medicine, you study the arts, you study literature. You listen to music from, let's say, a scientific point of view. Unaweza like a certain artist amesema kitu fulani. You don't just listen to songs at beats, boom 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 boom. You listen, unaweza sikia msee amesema, for example, what's appealing to me is under banana trees. That is a metaphor. So you look at things from a scientific point of view. The same way when you are, let's say, the way you are shooting. It's like we have easily turned this into a science podcast. Yes. Yeah, so you just find relationships across the board. You see, you study everything. You study a lot of things. Then when you reach a certain level, you start joining the dots. Yeah. So
you said that you need 4 million pounds?
Yes.
4 million pounds. Probably if you can, briefly to break down, what is it going into?
Okay. The funds will first of all go to purchase specific equipment that will be used in the treatment. For example, when you go to Kenyatta Teaching and Referral Hospital. It's actually the largest healthcare facility in Kenya. Sometime back in March, His Excellency the President launched what we call a cyber knife. It is an advanced radiotherapy machine that is non-invasive. Because when, let's say, you want to remove that tumor, you can remove it through surgery. But you can also do non-invasive procedures where you just shine, it's radiotherapy. You just shine a powerful ray of energy to go and burn those tumors. So it will be used in the purchase of equipment and general feasibility studies, like I want to establish that healthcare center, where will it be located? Yeah.
I'm more interested in knowing, in knowing what is this cure of cancer.
Okay,
That is the bigger question people have. You said you have nikona dawa ya headache. Ni gani? Ni Panadol. You understand that?
Yes.
So many people would ask you, so what is this cure of cancer that you have?
Okay, the cure is a combination of many interventions. The same way when you go to hospital and you have some complications, you'll be given antibiotics, antibacterial drugs or antiviruses to deal with the virus. You'll be given painkillers to suppress the pain. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It is a combination of various interventions, lifestyle changes, then coupled with the intervention that I'm coming up with. It is not something completely new. It's something that, has been in advanced economies. But in Africa, I'm the only person to come up with the intervention. Plus also, I've tropicalized it. The same way you've noticed, let's say, umona Mercedes-Benz Kali, unaona DT Dobby. You have to ask yourself, why is it that hii Mercedes ya DT Dobby unaweza pata gari ni KZ, but inakaa mpya? Why? Because it has been built for the African roads. Umeona? That's tropicalization. The same way, like when you come up with a project, you find it has worked in other countries, fit the Kenyan context. So it will look at like the Kenyan diets, you see. So also, let's say I looked like Kenyan athletes, because Kenyans, we have like, let's say, different physiological characteristics from other people. So those are the metrics that I looked into to develop the intervention. Yeah.
So say someone told you that, we have the 4 million pounds right now. What would be the first step? We have the 4 million, or maybe we've already, I don't want you to, I know it's almost impossible to take it out from you in telling you that, just tell us how it works. But can you just tell us how it works? Tell us how it works.
How it works? It is based on the findings of two-time Nobel Prize winner. He was called Otto Warburg. He came up with what is known as the Warburg effect, whereby through dietary changes, you can stave off cancers.
Okay.
Yeah, because cancers, how do you detect a cancer? It is an area with high metabolism. We have what you known as a PET scan. A PET scan is essentially a form of ink that goes and glows in areas with high metabolism. And what causes that high metabolism? You have to look what type of fuel does the tumor use. Tumors use easily fermentable fuels. For example, ni kama gari inatumia diesel, uiweke petrol, you see it will not move. That's how it is a shift. I'm just changing the shift in energy sources in combination with other interventions, generally to enhance the body's function. That's what we call holistic healthcare interventions. Si solution moja, the same way tunamwona kichwa, you go and get a painkiller. Jota, in fact, now and you are speaking about headaches. When the head is aching, it's not that in kichwa inauma, it is the body's way of telling you there's something wrong in the body. Now when you see you have a headache, right? You go and get painkillers. Those painkillers, they block the transmission of that pain. You see? Ni kama the same way when you are stressed, you might indulge in substances. And by the way, human beings, we have always been fascinated with altered states of mind since way back. That's why, that's another topic of discussion, drug use and You know, these are things that have been there. How do you deal with them? I can delve deeper into that. But anyway, let's go back to the main topic of discussion. It's just a combination of various interventions that address things at the causal level. Because current interventions, they only deal with the symptoms. The same way when you mentioned chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and surgery, you are removing the tumor. Okay, it's good, you are doing well because it has worked, but it is not effective. For example, it's like a car. Sometimes tunaona kuna sport mode. You will run on full power. Is it better to run on full power or to run on very low power? No, it's better to run on full power.
Oh, yeah. Is it?
Yes, no, this is symbolism. Like you relate it back to the body in that it's better to have all the systems working at 100, because the current interventions, they have been working but they are ineffective. For example, last year alone we lost 23,000 Kenyans to cancer, and those are reported cases. Kuna ule mtu maybe aliaga huko Ocha, ajui nini limua. You see, these are documented cases. When you break that down, it translates to 2,750 people every month. You know, that's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. Per day, you are losing around 90 people every day. What if those lives were not lost? And you see, when a life is lost, we have that financial burden. Unaona, you've been to hospital, very expensive bills, but the person dies. You see, so those are the things that I'm trying to work on. It's a humanitarian cause to advance the well-being of the society. Yeah.
Pengine, just to diverge kidogo, why cancer? Is it something that you have someone close ambayo pengine alipitia, or why not any other disease?
Okay, I might not have relatives that are affected by the disease, but I'm surely within your cycle, your social circle, a friend, or perhaps mjomba wa jirani, akona.
I personally have people.
You see, now we all have, it's something that happens, and the cases, the rates are increasing. Cancer is the third leading cause of death in Kenya. It's something major, so I chose to start with that one. But the same intervention applies to all lifestyle diseases because it deals with things at the causal level, not addressing just symptoms. Then unatibutibu kidogo, you suppress the symptoms, then the disease moves on. In fact, cancer comes from the Greek, I don't know, is it Greek or Latin word, karakanoma, which means crab. You know how crabs move? In all directions. That is symbolic of, in medical terms, you say it is metastasis. Unaona ilikuwa hapa, imemove, imeenda place ingine, imemove. So it moves that way because, for example, you've had a surgery, it has been removed here, it goes to another area. You will not keep on doing surgery. You need to ask yourself the question, why has the tumor developed? And if you know why, you can easily address it. Let me give you a very basic example. Ni kama kuna, let's say, an animal, kuna pest flani imeingia kwa nyumba, right? You can decide to poison the entire house. You'll achieve your objective, but at what cost? You see, the same way with chemo. You lose your hair because, okay, it kills the tumors, right? But it kills fast developing cells as well. That's why you get gastrointestinal complications. You start having severe headaches. You start vomiting. There's nausea. There's general fatigue, lethargy. Unashinda umechoka. You see, so that's the inspiration behind the specific focus on cancer. But the intervention, because all these diseases are linked, it also works for other interventions. Because once you know the cause of something, you can easily tackle it. Okay. Yeah.
For the intervention measures that you're talking about, I really love to know. Let's say person X has cancer, and we are about to work on him according to your plan, according to your idea, how long would you say it would take for us to say that this guy is now cancer free?
Okay, first you have to understand that cancer moves in stages. There are stages 1, 2, 3 and 4. The more advanced the stage is, the more difficult it is to deal with it, because you find that it has already metastasized to different areas of the body. So, here the analogy that prevention is better than cure. The earlier, the better. So, and that depends with a specific case. So I cannot give like a one size fits all solution that this works for stage 1, 2, 3, 4. Because also these tumors, cancer develop, there's something called disease comorbidity, whereby the occurrence of one disease is accompanied by another. For example, when it comes to lifestyle diseases, for example, when you get a person is overweight, no, let me say obese. A person is obese. When you are obese, you are at high risk of developing fatty liver disease. You are at high risk. You see now that correlation between various things. So those are the metrics that have to be looked into before we can say we have a definitive cause that the intervention takes, let's say, a certain period of time for it to work.
Yeah.
It depends, because you'll see like people, we are very different people. We have very different genes. For example, you can see like Omanyala. Why is it that Omanyala can be the fastest African? And why is it that the great Eliud Kipchoge can be a marathon runner? You see, because they have different muscle types. For example, when it comes to muscle types, you have fast twitch muscle fibers and others are slow twitch muscle fibers. Fast twitch muscle fibers, they provide that explosive energy. You see someone is sprinting, covering 100 meters in, let's say, 9.78 seconds. That is explosive. But that you can only do that for short bursts of energy. And that not only applies to human beings, it extends to animals. That's why you see a cheetah. A cheetah can only do that full sprint for a certain period of time. But when you look at a wild dog, it can run the whole day. So you have to you have,
Okay.
The details now, the small details, things like muscle fibers. Because you can get, for example, kuna mtu akona, that body, because you have different body types. We have endomorphs, mesomorphs, ectomorphs, and different, it depends with the body's characteristics.
Wow.
Because it also affects how you respond to diseases. Yeah.
And would you say that the intervention that we are looking at is an intervention that can work for all stages?
Yes, it can work for all stages. The same way, for example, there are different doses for the same disease. Nizapata, for example, you're given, let's say, a small tablet. But the more, let's say, the disease shows resistance, you'll be given a stronger dose. It's the same way like alcohol. Napata mtu, maybe when someone started to indulge in, substances, initially you just require a small amount to get a very high. But the more you progress, the more you need to ingest more of the substance to achieve the same effect.
Okay, quick question.
Yes.
Once everything is set up, once you get like the funding and everything, I want to know, are we looking at coming up with a cure in general, or are we looking at a medicine that you just take and be okay?
No, it's not a medicine. First of all, we need to shift our focus from just looking for a one size fits all approach. It is a therapy. A therapy, it's a combination of various factors. That's why you see, as human beings, you need to eat a balanced diet. You need to drink water. You see, it cannot be just one thing. Because, for example, if you just, you're told water is healthy, right? You should drink, let's say, 8 glasses. Fanya mazoezi. Ikuangi ati fanya tu mazoezi peke yake. It needs to be with the correct diet. Umeona? With the correct amount of sleep. You see, the same way if you want to lose weight. You can see someone has lost weight. That's commendable. You clap for him or her. But how did he or she lose the weight? That's why you find someone was huge, was like, 300 pounds. He's reduced to like 150 pounds. That's very commendable. But when you look at the aesthetics, someone has those, flabby skin in a hang all over because you did not lose that weight correctly. You don't just lose weight, you combine cardio, that is, things like running, things to get the heart rate up, with weights, so that you can build muscle. When you build muscle, it holds the skin together. Yeah.
There are a few conspiracies. Okay, maybe before we get there to the conspiracies, of course, there are a lot of them. But we've heard many people say that they found the cure for cancer, but later on, the story just fades, and we don't get to hear from them. How are you assuring us that once you get the funding and everything, this is something that is gonna work?
Yes, this is work. There's a cure for everything except greed.
And there are now a few conspiracies that we've heard about, people who've come up with the cure for cancer. Of course, it's a multi-billion industry, and we have many people, making billions of dollars from it. And there are conspiracies that say that this so and so came up with a cure, and they were killed. I'm sure you've heard of that.
Yes, I have.
Are you not afraid of such?
I only fear God, first of all. Secondly, what I'm doing, I'm leading an African medical renaissance. Because for the society to develop, it needs to be healthy. And I'm calling up to fellow Kenyans to join this initiative. I know, of course, it's hot, it will attract a lot of heat, but I'm built for that. I'm ready. Like Miguna, I tell them, come baby, come.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing sana. Nimekuwa nikipiga story na Oscar. I don't know kama kuna swali sijakuuliza that you feel like you really need to address.
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. Because like when it comes to sleep alone, a person who slept, there was a study done, people who slept for 4 hours a day, a week, their killer T cell production reduced by 70%. So sleep also impacts our health. You have to ask yourself, why do we sleep? Because when you sleep, you're at risk. Because you're not procreating. Essentially, when you sleep, you're paralyzed. You're half, it's like you're half dead. And it works. Let's say you exercise. For the exercise to be effective, you need to rest. Life is all about fluctuations, activity and rest. You can call my theory Mgenyi's activity rest theory. It applies to a lot of things. There has to be exertion, then you rest. And speaking of sleep now, it also affects your cognitive ability. The same way I usually say, hakuna mtu mwerevu na hakuna mtu mjinga. Difference is in your ability to retrieve that information. Let me give you an example. You're supposed to sleep, let's say, 6 to 8 hours. You can equate that to you're downloading information using a hard drive, yeah? It will tell you for 1 terabyte of data to be transferred, it will take 1 hour. Ikifika dakika ya 20 uitoe, you only store that 20 minutes worth of information. The same unapata like back in school, in high school. Unapata msee anashinda amesoma, anasoma na extend usiku asubuhi anarauka, but I translate to results. Because you are channeling, okay, you're trying to achieve greatness through the wrong way. It's like right now you want to start sprinting. You can go, you can run. But if you use the wrong technique, it will do more harm than good. Yeah.
For anyone who's watching you right now, and probably they've watched you for more than 20 minutes and they're not yet convinced that you have the cure for cancer, what would you say to them?
I can tell them next time, bring the best oncologist in town to counter-check my facts, or perhaps even the best, the best medical practitioner in the country. Tell them, bring them on. Let's have, like they had that presidential debate. This one is selling his manifesto or his agenda. The one counter checks. Yeah, so you can have that discussion. Yeah.
Apart from the 4 million pounds you need, the equipment and everything, do you have do you have facts on facts on paper, everything check to check, proving that you have the cure for cancer?
Yes, the data is there, but I am yet to publish. I have to patent it first so that I can publish it.
That's the reason why there are some things that you're just explaining instead of telling us what it is.
I'm explaining in a layman's language. I can go heavy on the medical terms, but itapoteza watu. So I'm explaining it in a way that people, the general public, can understand. We can also go the science way, and I can show the literature is there, the information is there. It's only just to be packaged. Yeah.
There's someone watching you and they have a network, they have the 4 million pounds. Talk to them right now.
So I'm calling out to all Kenyans of goodwill to avail the funds. The 4 million is just part of the equation because it will lead to something bigger. That is just for the feasibility studies. For example, there's a billionaire called Mwale. I don't know if you've heard Mwale. You should. I need to see Mwale. He established the Mwale Medical and Technology Center at a cost of $2 billion. But it costed him around $2 million sometime back in 2006 when he did the feasibility studies. So just the feasibility studies is just step one. But before you move to step two, you need to achieve the first step. So that is just for the first step. For things, to start happening, for equipment, for personnel. Because right now we are complaining about joblessness. A lot of doctors are unemployed. This thing will employ 70 medical professionals. Those are medical professionals. Then kuna other staff. You see, and that is just, let's say, one center. What if, my dream is to have like in every county. We can even go to other countries, Tanzania. I'm thinking big. I'm thinking about the entire Africa. I'm the man to change healthcare in Africa. So it's something big. I'm calling out, I'm reaching out to, billionaires, the like of Aliko Dangote, high profile people. I've been trying to contact Jimmy Wanjigi. I'm looking up to such people, they can also advise me, you look at the potential. At this age, this person is thinking of this. How about when I'll be at 40? I'll be sending people to space. Yeah, so it's something
else which will be discovered after space.
Yeah.
Right, nimekuwa nikipiga story na Oscar, and of course it has been a very insightful experience getting to know. I think I've learned about my body more than I've ever learned since I was born. Thank you so much for that. So probably kwa anayetazama na yuko interested to reach you out in, to continue this conversation, what's your phone number?
My phone number is 07 23 06 24 95. There's a lot. This is just a trailer. The movie is coming. It's just wanasema in Swahili, hii ni trailer, bado bogi linakuja.
Mimi naitwa presenter Ali, your entertainment PA. The A is for amazing number iko kwenye screen yako. Reach out to him, muendelee this conversation, and you feel like if you feel like you can really network him ama connect him with someone else ambaye anaweza ka advance this conversation. This is just the beginning of the conversation. There's just a lot that he has to share with you guys. So thank you so much once more. What are your social medias pengine kwa mtu ambaye anataka kureach via Instagram, Facebook and so on and so on?
On Instagram, Facebook, Twitter also, my handle is at Oscar Vietnam. Have you ever had a name like Vietnam?
Why Vietnam?
My dad called me that. I don't know why. It's a cool name, right?
Yeah, it is. So guys, follow him, alafu mconnect na yeye to continue with the conversation to pengine.
So, I'm reaching out to His Excellency the President. I saw he'd given the athletes 5 million Kenya shillings in cash prize and a house worth 6 million. Where is mine?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Minister Presenter Ali. Your entertainment PA. The A is always for amazing. Behind the camera we have Franka, the director. Siku zote ukitaka kufanikiwa usipende kusifiwa. I'll see you guys in the next